whatever we do, there's an aim or a goal to it. When we say media objective, what we are trying to say is the aim or goal or reason behind or what you want to achieve with the use of media. So you see the definition, it says an indication of what one plans to achieve by the use of media. So a media objective is an indication of what you want to achieve by use of media. I put into bracket either specific or general. Now this is because the use of the word media is sometimes mixed. Normally medium is singular and media is plural, but in current parlance, media sometimes is used to refer to just one. So for the avoidance of doubt, I put there either specific or general. So what I am referring to is when I say an indication of what one plans to achieve by the use of media, I mean either one media or plural. Yeah, or should I say one medium or plural media, whichever it is a media objective. So media objective is not limited to only let's say one media platform. It could be one media platform or numerous platforms. Right. As a media planner, before you set out to use any media, you would have to have an idea of what you want to achieve with the media. And of course, that is the media objective. But how do you develop these media objectives? Media objectives are not developed in a vacuum. There are underlying factors or reasons for selection and use of certain media and our expectations of that media. Now, one example of such is the consumer decision-making process. You see the 7 points stated there. These are the 7 steps that a customer goes through to conclude a purchase. You have already come across this in your earlier studies as an advertising student. Some call it IDA model. Well, IDA model is one of them, which is attention, interest, desire, and action. The idea behind the IDA model is those are the steps that consumers go through before they come to a conclusion that this is the product they want to purchase. Similarly, these 7 points given here, or these 7 steps, is an extended version of the IDA model that talks about need, awareness, preference, search, selection, purchase, and use, satisfaction. These are steps that customer goes through before, during, and after purchasing your product. Now, for the benefit of those who have not come across these steps before, these expanded steps, let me quickly explain this in advertising. Now, the need stage is where the customer decides they need a product. So I may decide I need a body lotion. That is the need stage. Now remember, at this need stage, I do not have any knowledge of what body lotions are available. All I know is that I need a body lotion. The next step is the awareness stage. The awareness stage is where I try to find out the body lotions that are available on the market. That is the awareness stage. From the awareness stage, I go to the preference stage. This is where, out of the many brands that are available on the market, I select which one best suits my needs. That is the preference stage. The search stage is after I have selected or decided my preference, I look for where to get it. The search. That is the searching stage. And then after searching stage, I will find where to get it. The selection stage. Sometimes some people wonder why the selection stage is necessary. Now, this is because if somebody has preferred your brand in step 3 and has searched for your brand or where to find your brand in step 4 and has gone to the market or to the mall or wherever and is going to select your brand step 5, why would the person select another? But I am sure some of you have experienced this before, where you have in your mind what you're going to purchase in a shop, but you get there and then you purchase something else. It could be lack. You go, you want Palmer's cocoa butter, and they say, oh, we don't have Palmer's, or Palmer's has not been in the system for a while, or unless you go to Accra Central. Okay, then what is there? Evershin cocoa butter. Okay, let me have it. That could be a reason. Yeah. Sometimes too, it could be a promotion that is being given by the other brand that would make somebody purchase the other brand instead of yours, even though the person went there for yours. So these are some of the things that can happen at the selection stage. At the purchase and use stage, the person may have purchased your product but may not be using it as you may have directed or as you may want. And remember, it all has to do with customer satisfaction, which is the final stage, even though we have not reached there yet. If a client, a customer, is not using your product as you have directed, it may result in the customer not getting the benefits that you have proposed in your product advertisement. And the person might say, Charlie, these people, they said this, that. It's a lie. Meanwhile, the person is not using it as you have wanted them to use it. So sometimes you would need advertising at this stage to make them use it as you would want them to use it. Apart from this, sometimes too, people get bored using something in a particular way. Take for instance, let's say Indomie. Maybe you may be part of the group who buy Indomie, put water on fire, put the Indomie inside, boil it, put in the spices, stir, simmer, and serve. Now, although that is Indomie, sometimes to relieve boredom, to make people use it for other things, to create more interest, sometimes you may see that maybe they are running an ad where they are showing you an Indomie recipe where they use, let's say, chicken, and then maybe they fry the chicken and then they mix it with something and then they mix Indomie with it, and then it tastes good. Now, when you see the ad, you may want to go and try it. So you buy Indomie and then you try that one, and maybe you may like it, and you go like, and I say in there, say na may Indomie. You understand? So that purchase and use stage is also important. And then there's the satisfaction stage. We have something called buyer's remorse. Now, this is when a customer buys your product or service, and then after that, the person starts regretting. Sometimes maybe because your product is not living up to expectation, and sometimes it might just be because people don't like feeling cheated. So sometimes they just wonder, not because your product is not delivering, but they just wonder, did I make the right choice? Is it good? So the satisfaction stage is also an important stage, and you sometimes see companies try to appease customers who are in their satisfaction stage by running adverts of people who have purchased it and they are happy with it. So maybe if it's a vehicle, you would see somebody riding the vehicle and then saying, Charlie, this car there, I've used it for 7 years so far. I have never regretted. No change of engine, no this, no that. So when somebody who has already purchased it watches these adverts, the person goes like, oh, okay, then Charlie, me I've used it for 1 year, or 7 years, no problem. Then Charlie, vim. There's hope for the future. And that is why companies are very wild about award schemes, because when they receive awards, let's say the company has received award best engineering company or best design or blah blah blah, it means that it is going to let people who have their product feel that, oh, if this vehicle manufacturing brand has won the best engineering vehicle, then it means that Charlie, their car they be. So those are some of the things that they indulge in to ensure that customers at the satisfaction stage are happy. So from what we have just discussed, you can see that making a customer happy or reaching a customer or advertising to a customer has various stages, and each stage may have what you need, the message you will need to send to that particular person, and also the media that you would need to do that. So for instance, if you sell a product that is known, let's say you sell water, bottled water, everybody knows of the brand, let's say it's Verna, everybody knows it's Verna, they are aware, and it's probably their preference. But per your research, you realize that people don't know where to get it. So what that means is, as a media planner, what you would suggest is, let us select a media platform, which is Google, search ads, and then let's run our ads there, so that when people Google, where can I get Verna will pop up, and then they will see all the various locations. And then you say, okay, let us select this platform too, because this platform is also a platform where people go to ask questions. Let's say Quora. So let us put an answer on Quora, and then when people want to find out this or that, they can find the answers there. So you realize that because per your research, the customer base are often stuck at the search stage, your focus is not on certain kinds of platforms. So that is how, or why it is important to have at the back of your mind these 7 stages, so that it can help direct you when you are selecting your media. In selecting media, there are 3 main things that we focus on in selecting media. These are reach, frequency, and continuity. Reach, frequency, and continuity. Now, what is reach? Reach is the number of people who have been exposed to your message over a period of time. So if you have run ads on Facebook, for instance, before, you would realize that that is a common terminology that is used over there. That is the reach. So maybe you have reached 1,000 people, or impressions. Those are the number of people who have been exposed to your message. And then there's frequency. Frequency indicates how many times a consumer of the target group is exposed to your message within a set time period. So if you're running a radio ad and you decide, I'm going to run it 2 times in the morning, 2 times in the afternoon, 2 times in the evening, that means that the frequency is 6. So on the average, how many times would one consumer hear the ad within, let's say, a certain period? That is the frequency. So if within a week, a consumer should have, a target group or a target consumer should have listened or heard this radio jingle 3 times, then that is a frequency. The continuity is how long it will run and the nature of it. How long it will run and the nature of it. Now, when we talk about nature of it, we have 3 ways of scheduling adverts or scheduling media as a media planner. We have the continuous, we have the pulsing, and then we have the flighting. The continuous is when you spend a continuous amount throughout the whole campaign period. So it is self-explanatory. It means that if from January to December, if you're spending, let's say, 5,000 cedis or 10,000 cedis a month, you are spending that amount throughout the year. Yeah, that is the continuous. It runs steadily. Yeah, for whatever period that you are running it for. So if it's a year, 6 months, whatever, it is continuous. And then there's pulsing. Now, the pulsing comes from the word pulse. You know, when you're breathing, your pulse. You see, it goes up and comes down. You hear cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. That's how your pulse works. So that's how the pulsing and advertisement also works. That is, you heighten your ad frequency and reach for a period, and then for a certain period you reduce it, so you mix it high and low. Now, the pulsing strategy is often used for products that are seasonal. Yeah, so products like, let's say, chocolate. Now, you know, chocolate is often consumed during festive programs like Valentine's Day, of course, Christmas, probably Easter. You know, that's when people buy gifts for people, and a lot of people also give chocolate as gifts. And then Mother's Day. These are periods where the product purchasing spikes. So depending on your budget, you can schedule the media exposure such that during periods where where people purchase more of the product, you increase the awareness, or you increase the frequency of your advertisements. And then when things are cool, off season, you can run it at a lower level. The ads are there, but not as often or as frequent as they are when the product is in season. And then we have flighting. Flighting involves heavy spurts of advertising followed by periods with no advertising. So the flighting is similar to the pulsing in the sense that it is high and low, but the flighting is more like high and disappear. So there is advertisement in January, maybe because that is when the product often does well. Maybe if it is dry season and you are selling nkuto, then maybe during the dry season or dry seasons, your ads are running. And then when the dry season is over, no adverts again until maybe another period where you think, Charlie, maybe you have a promotion or maybe something is happening, and then you say, Charlie, we are going to run ads within that period to do this or do that. So the flighting is high adverts and then disappear, no adverts, not low, no, N-O, no. And then the pulsing, high, and then it goes low, lower. So it's not like the thing has disappeared, but it's there in the background. So that's the difference between the continuous pulsing and then the flighting. So again, these are things that you need to have at the back of your mind when you're setting your media objectives. What is the reach, or what's the frequency, or how do you want to do it? Do you want to do continuous pulsing or flighting? Yeah. So these are the things you need to take into consideration. Now we are going to go to media objectives themselves. Now, these are some examples of a media objective. Media objective 1: achieve a minimum reach level of 1,000 with adult women aged 35 to 54 within 1 month. Now, what you would see here is they've talked about reach. So the aim or the objective of the media platform is to achieve a minimum reach level of 1,000 with adult women aged 35 to 54 within 1 month. So if it is, let's say, Facebook, and your media objective for Facebook is you want to reach 1,000 adult women aged 35 to 54 within 1 month, that is your media objective. So they have talked about the period, they've talked about the reach. It is not all the time that you would see reach, frequency, continuity, everything in one media objective. Sometimes a media objective may focus more on frequency. Sometimes we may focus on reach. So another media objective, maintain at least 50% reach in each advertising period and maximize when sales promotion runs in February and October. So you realize that with this one, it says maintain 50% reach in each advertising period. That they have given you an advertising period. And then it says maximize it when sales promotion runs in February and October. So if the period is within a year, it says that maintain at least 50% reach. That one, 50%, somebody will say, what 50% of what? But that will be dependent on the advertising objective. Maybe you have a customer base of 500,000. So if you say 50% reach, it means that maybe you want to reach 250,000. So it says reach 250,000 people within a certain month. And then when we get to our promotion period, which is February and October, we want you to maximize it. So you realize then that this is pausing. Yeah. It's not flighting because it says maintain it at 50%, and then when it reaches promotion stage, you maximize it. So it means that pausing, you maintain it at a certain level, and then you go high depending on certain periods. Another example is to increase the brand experience by 20% among Accra-based students by reaching 500,000 students using Facebook and Twitter by end of year. So this one too, they have given you what they want to do, increase the brand experience. By brand experience, over here we're talking about activation. Let people feel your brand. Let people activate your brand. Yeah. So that's what they want to achieve among Accra-based students by reaching 500,000 students using Facebook and Twitter by end of the year. So how you are going to get them to achieve or have that feel? Maybe you create a certain app online that when they download, they can, if it's, let's say, a mobile phone, and you want them to get that brand experience, maybe you can download a certain app, and then you see the screen of the mobile phone. You can browse like you're browsing through the mobile phone so that you have that experience. So these are media objectives. So if, for instance, if it was Facebook that you wanted to use, Facebook and Twitter, you see with the last example, they have indicated the two media platforms that they are using, Facebook and Twitter. So that's the media objective for Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, sometimes too, these media objectives will be listed without actually indicating which media platform. Then that will mean that maybe they want to do that with all the media platforms that they use, or a particular, maybe they are using just Facebook. So when you see all of these without any particular medium, maybe it's because they are using just one medium and they know what they are talking about. I hope media objective is clear. The reason why you should have your media objective is the same reason why objectives are important, so that you can measure, so that you can know whether you are achieving your aim or not with that media platform. If you want to reach 1,000 adult women aged 35 to 54 within a month, with, let's say, Twitter, or as some people say, Twitter. If you want to reach 1,000 people and then within 1 month you have not been able to do that, then you may have to review your use of that platform. Yeah, so that's why it is important to set objectives so that you can keep measuring and then decide, oh, okay, this is not working, so let me up it. Or this is working, so let me up it. This is not working, let me drop it. This platform is not really working for me, so let me take out Twitter. Let me add LinkedIn, maybe it will work for me. So that's how you go about it. So that's why media objectives are important. Now, sometimes some people may confuse advertising goals and media objectives. It can get mixed up sometimes. So sometimes I tell students, you know what? Sometimes your advertising objective or advertising goal can also be your media objective or media goal. But if we talk about advertising goal, normally goals are overarching or they are broader in this sense that I'm using. And then the objective over here, I'm making it more specific in this sense that I'm using it. So when we say advertising goal, that is what you want. And then the media objective is how to get it. So if your advertising goal is to increase awareness of HP laptops by 50% among office workers by end of 2021, we're saying that is your advertising goal. You see, the goal should be smart, blah, blah. So we have done that. We want to increase awareness of HP laptops by 50% among office workers by end of year. Now, to achieve that, what are you doing with the media? What objectives are you having for the various media platforms available to you, for them to all come together to increase awareness of HP laptops by 50%? So we say first of all, you want to reach 5,000 office workers daily via Facebook for 3 months. And then maybe you say another objective is you want to achieve 2,000 eyeballs from billboards by the end of April. Now, what are we doing? You are doing things that you believe via media. You are setting objectives that you believe when you sum all of them up, by the end of the year, you would have increased awareness of HP laptops by 50%. Because remember, in advertising, your channel that you use are media. You use media platforms. So, in advertising, we use media platforms to achieve our goals. So if your goal is, I'm taking it again, so if your goal is to increase awareness of HP laptops by 50% among office workers by end of 2021, how are you going to do it? Using the media. So you set media objectives. First of all, you see for Facebook, you reach 5,000 office workers daily for 3 months. So maybe you assume that means that if you reach 5,000 office workers daily for 3 months, you calculate 5,000 times, let's say 3 months is about 90 days. So 5,000 times 90, that's about, 450,000. So that's about 450,000 workers in 3 months. So you believe that maybe that would help increase awareness by, let's say, about 5 or 10%. And then you want to achieve 2,000 eyeballs, that is about 2,000 people to see your billboards by the end of April. So that one too, you believe maybe that one could increase awareness by about 5%. And then you have another media with its objective. And also, Nejumani said, increase at the end by 2%. So by the time you sum all of them up together, at the end of the year, you realize that you have increased awareness of HP laptops by 50%. So that is how I am differentiating it. Another example of an advertising goal is to influence 5,000 students to join We Love Ghana March. So let's say we want to march for Ghana. You want 5,000 students to join. So which media will you be using and what are the objectives for the media? Yeah, a Juma Ben na opese media platform BID or your media in general. So that is deliver message to 100 students twice a day for 30 days via radio. So that is the media objective. So I hope my attempt to differentiate advertising goal from media objective makes it clearer to you. Remember, you use media to achieve your advertising goal. So, whatever media objectives that you set for yourself should all aim at helping you reach your advertising goal. Right. So, now we have come to an end of today's class. I'd like you to know that since the semester has come to an end, and I have looked at your scripts, the assignments that I gave, and it was encouraging, but there were also some challenges that I realized students were facing. Because of that, I am giving you another assignment which I'll use as your mid-semester. So this is going to carry some marks. So your groups, you should take advantage and take it seriously. We are using the same groups that you used for the previous assignment because we don't have enough time to be, shuffling groups again. So the question is, why, in your opinion, do you think some media planners fail in satisfying their clients? Now, if your reaction to this question is, but you have not taught us how media planners fail, then maybe, just maybe, if you're not careful, you may fail the exam. Because the exam may not be less 7 steps, blah, blah, and then you start needs, awareness. No. Sometimes too, questions can be application, which the things you have learned so far, what you have learned about media planning, the things you have gathered, the stages. What does it? At what point do you think a social media planner can fail? Yeah, what could let a social media planner fail? This is a no-brainer. Just think about all the challenges that a media planner could possibly face and write it down. So a maximum of 500 words times New Roman. I want font size to be 12. I want it to be single spaced. The deadline is 22nd March 2021 at 5 p.m. So any mail received after 5 p.m. will not be accepted. Please note that your continuous assessment is supposed to be provided for you before you write your exam. So you would have to know your mid-semester score and your class score and everything before you write your exam. But because this is the time you are about to start your mid-semester, this is your mid-semester assignment, what you would get so far will be your class score, but not the mid-semester score. So after I mark the mid-semester score, I would update it and then you would get to know. So probably as you're writing the exam, or maybe shortly after your exam, the mid-semester score will be uploaded, and then you will know what you have scored so far for class. And then you sit and wait and anticipate what you will score for your exam. Now, your class assignment feedback. First of all, I realized some people plagiarized. They copied things from the internet. And those who did that, I let them know I have seen where they copied it from. And we'll have a discussion with your grades. Over specificity. There are some people who, in designing or creating the persona, were too specific. Mr. Mensah, he works at this place, he earns this. The information was such that it cannot be anybody but Mr. Mensah. Some people even went ahead to use real life people as their buyer persona. Now, there's nothing wrong in that. You can use somebody, an idea of somebody, to create a buyer persona. But sometimes when the information about the person is too specific, what it does is it narrows down your audience. Your audience becomes too narrow. So you realize that after talking to a few clients, you don't know where to go again. To give you an example, somebody says a client receives I had this example. I forgot, but anyway, maybe let's go to unrealistic persona. Maybe the example will come back. If it doesn't, when I do the reaction video, I would look for the example and then I'll give those examples in the reaction video for the over specificity. Unrealistic persona. Some people were carried away. They got carried away by the descriptions and they were giving descriptions that were unrealistic. When I say unrealistic, somebody says this client makes $15 million a year. This is somebody says this person is in Ghana, gets 15. That's up over $1 million a month. I mean, how many people make $1 million a month? And let me even add that to the over specificity, because what will happen is you may find one person, two persons, three persons who, for one reason or the other, are able to earn over $1 million a month. And you realize that because it is too specific, because you have used too narrow a salary range, you have made it narrowed down to only 4 people, 5 people. And then after that, what? All your apartments are gone. I mean, you'll not sell them again. You have like 20 apartments in airport area. So if you have your persona too narrow, what it does is it will take away so many people. Somebody earns less than $500,000 a month, but the person may still be able to purchase your apartment. But because your persona took those people out, it makes it difficult for your salespeople to include them in it. So realize that the persona is unrealistic. Some people even mention figures that were higher than that. So this was just a heads up to let you know that don't make it too specific. If you want to give salary, ideally give a range so that like more people are falling within that range. Yeah. And some people also added challenges, which is fantastic. But I thought the challenges would be challenges that the person is facing as he or she is looking for a property, because that's what you are focused on. But some people were talking about challenges. Their children, a man, his daughter doesn't want him to marry again, and the man says he will marry whether the child likes it or not. And I was not seeing how it was relevant to you as Brawl and your properties. So please take note of these things when you are asked to develop a buyer persona. Thank you.